What would happen if the reason your soul feels weary tonight is not because you are weak, but because you have walked for too long near the voices God never meant to guide you? The voice of fear, the voice of shame, the voice that tells you to hurry, to compare, to prove yourself, to carry tomorrow before tonight has even closed. But blessed is the one who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked. Blessed is the soul that knows how to refuse the road of fear. Blessed is the weary heart that turns away from the noise and returns to the word of Adonai. If tonight, that is you, if your mind has been pulled in too many directions, if your heart feels dry, if your soul feels worn down, if you are too tired from standing too close to places where people mock what is holy, then pause here, breathe slowly, and comment the number 1 as a quiet sign before God that tonight you choose the way of the righteous. Blessed is the one who does not sit in the seat of the scoffers. Blessed is the one who does not let the heart dwell among bitterness, among pride, among words that wound, among thoughts that pull the soul away from peace. For there is a road that looks very loud, but ends in emptiness. There is a path that looks very successful, but leaves the heart dry. There is a seat where the scoffer laughs loudly, but no mercy grows there. There is no river there. There is no rest there. But the righteous one delights in the law of Adonai. Day and night, that soul returns to his word. When the world speaks in fear, that soul listens to mercy. When darkness speaks in accusation, that soul listens to truth. When anxiety rises like a storm, that soul meditates on the word of Elohim. And that one shall be like a tree planted beside streams of water, not a branch blown away by the wind, in helplessness, not dry grass, withering beneath the heat of trouble, not chaff, without roots, without shelter, without home, but a tree, rooted, watered, kept, alive, a tree planted where the river of God still flows, a tree whose leaf does not wither when the night grows longer, a tree that bears fruit in the season God has appointed. Maybe you have not yet seen the sweet fruit. Maybe you have prayed and still feel tired. Maybe you have waited and still feel forgotten. Maybe you have tried to live uprightly, yet the wicked seem louder, stronger, faster, more confident. How long, Adonai? How long will the proud think they stand secure? How long will the wicked speak without trembling? How long will the righteous weep in silence? But the wind has already begun to blow. Chaff cannot stand forever. The wicked have no roots. They are not planted. They are not kept by living waters. They may rise for a moment, but then they will be carried away. For Adonai knows the way of the righteous. He knows the steps you took when no one thanked you. He knows the prayers you whispered when no one heard. He knows the tears you wiped away in silence. He knows the choice you made when temptation called your name. Adonai knows your way. He knows your heart. He knows your waiting. He knows your night. The way of the wicked will perish, but the one who takes refuge in him will still stand. So rest now, beloved soul. Turn away from the counsel of fear. Leave the seat of bitterness. Step out of the path that is stealing your peace. Return to the river. Return to the word of God. Return to Adonai. May his law become your meditation. May his mercy become the garment that covers you. May his truth become your roots. May his presence become the water beneath your weary heart. And tonight, you will not be swept away. You will not be forgotten. You will not wither in the darkness, for Adonai is guarding the way of the righteous. In peace, you may lie down. In mercy, you may close your eyes. For the one who planted that tree will also keep it through the long night. Selah. Have you ever felt as if the whole world were rebelling? Inside your own heart, one part of you wants to trust God, but another part is pulled away by fear, pulled away by noise, pulled away by pressure, pulled away by people who seem to think they have the power to decide your worth, your future, and even your peace. You look around and see the proud still speaking loudly, the deceitful still standing tall. The forces that oppose what is holy still seem to be joining together. And in the darkness, your soul asks, why is evil so loud? Why must the righteous suffer in silence? Why do those who resist God imagine they will never be judged? If tonight you have ever felt that this world is too chaotic, comment the number 1. If tonight you want to declare that in spite of every rebellion, the throne of Adonai remains unmoved, comment the number 0. Let that number become a small confession in the darkness that your heart still chooses to stand with God. Why do the nations rage? Why do the peoples plot a vain thing? The kings of the earth rise up. The rulers take counsel together against Adonai and against his anointed one. They say, let us break his chains. Let us throw his cords away from us. But they do not understand. They think human power can reach the throne of heaven. They think plans made in darkness can shake the one who sits above. They think if enough people rebel, then truth must step back. But no, the one who sits in the heavens will laugh. Adonai will hold their pride in derision, not because he is cruel, but because human rebellion is so small before his everlasting sovereignty. They have thrones, but their thrones will pass away. They have crowns, but their crowns will fall. They have plans, but their plans are only a breath. Before Elohim, Adonai speaks in his holy anger. He terrifies them in his displeasure. He declares, I have set my king upon Zion, my holy mountain. This is the word that makes the darkness tremble. No human being established that king. No earthly ruler gave him permission to reign. No power took a vote to decide whether that throne would stand. Adonai himself has set his king upon Zion. And what God has established, no one can tear down. So, frightened soul, do not let the noise of the world make you forget the voice of God. Do not let the rebellions outside make you believe heaven has fallen silent. Do not let the proud redefine the truth. Adonai still reigns. His throne still stands. His king is still upon Zion. His rule is not shaken. Maybe today you see chaos, but God sees the end. Maybe you hear mockery, but God hears prayer. Maybe you see the wicked plotting, but God already sees the day when every scheme vanishes like smoke. Be wise, O kings. Be instructed, you judges of the earth. Serve Adonai with holy fear. Rejoice with trembling. For true wisdom is not found in resisting God. True strength is not found in exalting yourself. True freedom is not breaking away from his ways. It is bowing down before the only one who can save the soul from ruin. Blessed are all who take refuge in him. Blessed is the weary one who still runs beneath the shadow of his wings. Blessed is the oppressed one who still believes God judges with righteousness. Blessed is the trembling one who does not let go of faith. Blessed is the one who, in a rebellious world, still whispers, Adonai is my refuge. Elohim is my fortress. The King upon Zion is my hope. So tonight, do not let your heart be swept into the chaos. Do not let the news, the words of others, fear of the future, or the wars inside your mind steal the peace God gives. Set your soul again before the throne of Adonai. Remember this, though the nations rage, Adonai still sits on high. Though rulers plot together, God has still set his king upon Zion. Though the world rebels, the throne of Adonai is not shaken. And if that throne is not shaken, then your soul does not have to fall apart tonight. Breathe slowly. Let go. Return. Blessed is the one who takes refuge in him. Blessed is the one who puts trust in the King of Zion. Blessed is the one who sleeps under the reign of Adonai. Tonight, you are not under the power of fear. You are not under the power of the wicked. You are not under the power of rebellious voices. You are under the gaze of God. You are under his rule. You are under his unshaken mercy. Adonai still reigns. His king still stands. Zion still belongs to him. And the one who takes refuge in him will not be put to shame. Selah. After the nations raged, after the kings plotted, after the whole world imagined it could resist, the throne of Adonai, the human soul, returns to a smaller battle, but a more painful one. Not the battlefield of nations, not the sound of swords outside the city, but the battlefield of the night, where a person lies down, yet the mind is still surrounded, where the body is tired, but the heart will not be still, where darkness is not only around the room, but inside the thoughts, rising up against the soul. Have you ever lain down and still heard your heart surrounded? An old word, an old failure, an unhealed fear, a face that once wounded you, a whisper saying, "There is no hope left for you. God will not save you now. No one is coming to help." That was David's night. That was the night of the hunted one. That was the night of a person who not only had enemies outside, but accusations trying to enter the soul. Adonai, how many are my enemies? Many rise up against me. Many say of my soul, "There is no salvation for him in Elohim." There are words that do not need to be shouted to make the heart tremble. There are enemies that do not need to touch the body to exhaust the soul. There are nights when people have not defeated you, but their words have tried to defeat hope inside you. But David did not let the enemy's word be the final word. He did not let the darkness write the ending for his soul. He turned his face toward Adonai. He remembered the unmoving throne. He remembered that the one who set his king upon Zion is also the one bending down to hear the cry of a surrounded man. But you, O Adonai, are a shield around me. You are my glory. You are the one who lifts up my head. This is the reversal of faith. The enemy says, "Lower your head." Fear says, "Be ashamed." Sin says, "Hide yourself." Pain says, "Lie there and do not rise again." But Adonai draws near. He does not only protect the front. He does not only guard the right side. He does not only watch the left. He is the shield around me, a complete protection, a wall of mercy, an invisible fortress the enemy cannot cross. And when your head is bowed down from exhaustion, from shame, from being misunderstood, from crying too long, without anyone knowing, Adonai is the one who lifts your head. Not people, not praise, not success, not the recognition of the world. Adonai himself. He lifts the head of the oppressed. He lifts the face of the one who has wept in the dark. He lifts the soul that thought it had been abandoned. I cry aloud to Adonai, and he answers me from his holy mountain. Prayer does not dissolve into nothing. Tears do not fall into an empty room. Sighs are not swallowed by darkness. From his holy mountain, Adonai hears. From his high and holy place, Adonai answers. From throne that cannot be shaken, he bends down to the one trembling on the bed. And then the miracle happens. Not that the enemies vanish at once. Not that every circumstance changes immediately. Not that every voice is silenced in a single moment. But a peace, greater than circumstance, begins to cover the soul. I lay down and slept. I woke again, because Adonai sustained me. This is faith in the night, not faith that only sings when everything is easy, not faith that only feels strong when there are no enemies left, but faith that can lie down while adversity is still there, faith that can close its eyes while the answer has not yet come, faith that can breathe slowly while armies of anxiety still stand around the mind. I will not fear, though 10,000 surround me, because the number of enemies is not greater than the presence of God. The voice of the crowd is not greater than the word of Adonai. The darkness of the night is not deeper than his mercy. So lie down, weary soul, not because everything has been solved, but because Adonai is holding you, not because the enemies have left, but because the shield of God has surrounded you, not because you are strong enough, but because he is your glory. He is the one who lifts your head. He is the one who keeps your breath through the long night. And when morning comes, you will know you did not wake by your own strength. You woke because Adonai sustained you. But there are nights when before sleep comes, tears still fall. There are souls that, though they trust, still need to be healed. There are hearts that, though kept by God, still tremble in pain. And right there, the next prayer begins. A prayer very soft, very honest, very deep. Adonai, have mercy on me. Heal me. Hear my weeping. In the night. Selah. There are nights when people do not cry out loud, but the soul is breaking. In silence. There are pains that do not show on the face, but they live in the breath, in the chest, in eyes that stay open and cannot sleep. There are nights when you no longer have strength for a long prayer. No more words to explain. No more strength to say you are still okay. Only a breath, a tear, a very small whisper. Adonai, have mercy on me. After David had said that Adonai was a shield around him, his glory, and the one who lifted his head, his soul still entered another depth of pain. Because there are people protected by God who are still hurting. There are people who believe God sustains them, yet their bodies still tremble. There are people who know God is near, yet tears still fall in the night. Faith does not make tears disappear at once. Faith brings those tears before Adonai. Adonai, do not rebuke me in your anger. Do not discipline me in your wrath. This is not the voice of a proud person. This is the voice of a soul that has been exhausted, a soul that knows it is weak, a soul that no longer defends itself, a soul that can only fall down before the mercy of God. Have mercy on me, Adonai, for I am weak. Heal me, for my bones are trembling. There are wounds no one can see. There are pains you cannot point to. In the body, there is a weariness that does not come from lack of sleep, but from having been strong for too long. There are souls that have held back too many storms, and at some point, even the bones seem to tremble. Even prayer becomes a sob. My soul is also greatly troubled. But you, Adonai, how long? How long before this heart stops hurting? How long before these tears dry? How long before this night passes? How long before I truly feel healed? But even the question, how long, is still a prayer. For the one who has completely abandoned God no longer asks him. The one who still asks is still turning toward him. The one who still weeps before God still believes. God hears the crying. Return, Adonai. Deliver my soul. Save me because of your mercy. Not because I deserve it. Not because I am strong. Not because I have done everything right. But because you are rich in mercy. Because your mercy is greater than my weakness. Because your loving kindness is deeper than my night. Because your love does not leave the one lying in tears. I am weary with my groaning. All night I flood my bed. I drench my couch with tears. This is one of the most painful images of the human soul. Not a passing tear, not one moment of weakness, but a long night, a bed wet with tears, a body lying down, but unable to rest, a mind that wants peace, but keeps being pulled back into pain. Maybe no one knows how much you have cried. Maybe no one sees the nights you stayed awake alone. Maybe no one understands why you have grown quieter than before. But Adonai knows. He counts the tears people overlook. He hears the sobs. The room swallowed. He sees the pillow. You turned your face into so no one would hear you cry. My eyes waste away because of grief. They grow dim because of all my enemies. Pain makes the eyes tired. Opposition exhausts the soul. Sometimes the enemy is not only a person outside. It is memory. It is fear. It is sin not yet healed. It is the accusation that keeps returning in the night. It is the feeling that you are no longer clean enough, good enough, strong enough, loved enough. But then the voice of the psalm turns. Tears are no longer the ending. Darkness is no longer the final voice. The one who is weeping suddenly rises in faith. Depart from me, all you workers of evil, for Adonai has heard the sound of my weeping. Adonai has heard my plea. Adonai receives my prayer. This is the moment the soul is lifted, not because every wound is healed immediately, but because that soul knows, I have been heard. God has heard. Adonai has heard. The cry did not fall into emptiness. The plea did not die in the dark. The tears were not forgotten. Adonai has heard the sound of my weeping. Let that sentence enter the deepest place in you. The place where you thought God had gone silent. The place where you thought no one cared. The place where you thought you were only crying alone. No, Adonai has heard. He hears in the night. He hears when you have no words left. He hears when the body grows weak. He hears when the soul trembles. He hears when all you can say is, have mercy on me. And when Adonai hears, darkness begins to lose its power. The enemy begins to lose its voice. Accusation begins to retreat. Because the one God hears is no longer defined by pain. The one God hears is no longer condemned by tears. The one God hears can move from weeping into hope. But after the tears, there is still a great question. What about those who do evil? What about those who caused the pain? What about the voices that shattered the soul. Adonai is not only the one who hears weeping, he is also the one who judges righteously. He not only heals the wounded, he also rises against evil. And so, from the bed wet with tears, the praying soul begins to look toward the justice of God. Selah. There is a very deep pain that not everyone speaks aloud. It is when you have been wounded, but the one who hurt you continues living as if nothing ever happened. They still laugh. They still speak. They are still believed by others. They still walk on, as if the things they planted will never rise up before the eyes of God. And you remain silent. You try to forgive. You try to be strong. You try to move on. But in the night, your soul still asks, does Adonai see? Does Elohim hear? Does justice still exist? After nights of tears, after a bed soaked in grief, after the plea, Adonai, have mercy on me, the praying soul begins to look upward, not only to ask for healing, but to ask God to rise for righteousness. For Adonai is not only the one who wipes away tears, he is also the judge. He not only hears the cry of the afflicted, he also sees the hand of the wicked. Adonai, my God, in you I take refuge. Save me from those who pursue me. Deliver me. There are enemies who do not only want to win over you, they want to tear apart your honor. They want to make you doubt yourself. They want to turn truth into something unclear. They want to make right bow their head in shame. If you do not help me, they will tear me like a lion. They will drag me away, with no one to deliver. This is the cry of one who has been cornered. No place to lean. No one who understands the whole story. No one who sees what happened in the dark. But Adonai sees. He sees the words that were twisted. He sees the pain that was hidden. He sees the pits the wicked quietly dug to harm the upright. And so, the praying one does not take revenge by his own hand. He brings the case of the soul before the throne of Adonai. Rise up, Adonai, in your holy anger. Awake for me. Establish the judgment you have commanded, not the blind anger of human beings, not bitterness that wants to destroy, not retaliation to satisfy a wounded heart, but the holy judgment of God, a righteousness that cannot be bribed, a light that cannot be deceived, a throne that cannot be shaken. By the words of the powerful, Adonai will judge the peoples. Judge me, Adonai, according to your righteousness. Judge me according to the integrity within me. That is a very courageous prayer. For the praying one does not only ask God to judge the enemy, he also asks God to search himself. Lord, look into my heart. Weigh my ways. Expose what is false, whether it is out there or still hidden in me. For the justice of Adonai does not only stand against others, it also purifies the soul of the one who is praying. Let the evil of the wicked come to an end. Establish the righteous. For the righteous God tests the hearts and minds. The wicked may hide their face from people, but they cannot hide the heart from Elohim. They may speak soft words, but God sees the poison under the tongue. They may smile before the crowd, but God sees the pit they dug in secret. They may build another story, but God knows the truth. From beginning to end, God is a righteous judge. He reveals judgment every day. If the wicked do not turn back, the very path they choose will become a sword against them. If they keep digging a pit, that pit will open beneath their own feet. If they keep sowing lies, those lies will return upon their own head. The wicked dug a pit and hollowed it out, and fell into the hole they had made. Their evil returns upon their own head. Their violence comes down upon themselves. Tonight, if you are hurting because of injustice, let your heart grow still. Not because evil is not serious, but because Adonai is more serious than evil. Not because the one who hurt you is innocent, but because judgment does not belong in your trembling hands. Not because everything has been explained, but because God needs no explanation. To know the truth, He has seen, He is seeing, and He will reveal. The wicked may win for a moment. A lie may sound loud for a season. Injustice may stand tall for an hour. But no darkness can stand forever before the light of Adonai. I will give thanks to Adonai according to His righteousness. I will sing praise to the name of Adonai Most High. This is the freedom of the soul. Not freedom because the enemy has disappeared, but freedom because you no longer have to be the judge. You no longer have to keep every piece of evidence inside your heart. You no longer have to stay awake, defending your honor before the whole world. Adonai is the judge. Adonai is the one who sees. Adonai is the one who defends the upright. So place the injustice down before His throne. Let bitterness leave your hands. Let God take up this case. And remember, the wicked may win for a moment, but the judgment of Adonai will reveal all things. From the justice of God, the soul begins to be lifted. And when the eyes of the praying one turn away from the wicked, that one begins to look higher, up to the sky, up to the moon, up to the stars, up to the work of God's hands. And from there, human pain steps into the greatness of the Creator. Selah. There are nights when the pain is so large that you feel very small. Small before the silent room. Small before the things you cannot control. Small before the future you do not yet know how to walk through. Small before the words of other people. Small before the loneliness no one sees. And deeper still, there is a question quietly rising in the heart. In this vast universe, does Adonai still remember me? Among all those stars, does Elohim still see one soul? Trembling in the night, after the praying one places injustice, before the righteous judgment of God, after the soul knows, the wicked cannot hide. From the light of Adonai, the eyes begin to leave the earth, to leave the enemy, to leave the voices of people, to leave the things that make the heart weary, And the soul looks up to the sky, up to the moon, up to the stars, up to the wide expanse his hands have made. Adonai, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. Your glory is set above the heavens. Not the name of man, not the power of kings, not the pride of the wicked, not the noise of the world, but the name of Adonai. That name is above every name. That glory covers the highest heavens. That majesty is not dimmed by darkness. When human beings fight for power, God still sets the stars in their places. When the human heart is full of chaos, God still keeps the moon in its path. When the wicked imagine themselves strong, the mountains still stand. Because of the command of Elohim, the sea still has its boundaries. The wind still moves only along the paths he allows. The sky still declares that God has never lost his rule. When I look at your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars, which you have set in place, what is man? That you remember him. What is the Son of Man? That you care for him. This is the question of a soul, both awed and hurting. For the more we look at the universe, the smaller we feel. A breath, a short life, a fragile heart, a body that grows tired, a soul that can weep because of one word, one loss, one long night. We are small before the galaxies, small before the depth of the sea, small before time, small before the holiness of God. And yet the wonder is this: God does not forget. Adonai does not look upon the universe and overlook humanity. Elohim does not create the stars and then forget a hurting soul. He sees you. He knows you. He remembers you. He made human beings, a little lower than the heavenly beings. He crowned them with glory and honor. He placed the work of his hands under their feet. This is not human arrogance. This is the mercy of God. Human beings do not have glory because they are great in themselves. Human beings have dignity because Adonai remembers them, because God looks upon them, because God gives them breath, because God calls them creatures made in his image. Even if you feel worthless, God does not see you as worthless. Even if you feel forgotten, God has not forgotten you. Even if the world sees only mistakes, weakness, and everything you have not done, Adonai still sees a soul he created and cares for. Maybe tonight you feel too small for anyone to listen. But before God, no tear is too small. No sigh is too weak. No soul is too hidden for him to see. He is the one who made the moon and stars, but he is also the one who bends down to the weary. He is the one who set the heavens in order, but he is also the one who touches a troubled heart. He is the one who rules the universe, but he is also the one who remembers you in this dark room. Adonai, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. Let that majesty settle your heart. If God can hold the stars, he can also hold your life. If God can set boundaries for the sea, he can also set boundaries for your pain. If God remembers humanity in the vastness of the universe, then he also remembers you. Tonight, you are small, but you are not forgotten. You are weak, but you are not meaningless. You are tired, but you are still cared for by God. And when the soul has looked up to the heavens, when the heart remembers it is loved by Adonai, the praying one begins to realize that God is not only the majestic creator, he is also the gentle shepherd, the one who leads the weary soul to green pastures, the one who brings the dry and thirsty beside still waters, the one who restores the soul in the long night. Selah. After the soul has lifted its eyes to the heavens, after the eyes have seen the moon, the stars, and the work of Adonai's hands, one question still lies very deep inside the weary heart. If God is that great, will he bend down to someone as small as me? If he can hold the heavens, can he hold this broken heart? If he can set boundaries for the sea, can he set boundaries for the pain flooding through my soul? There are nights when you do not need another explanation. You need a shepherd. There are nights when you do not need someone to tell you to be strong. You need a rock higher than yourself. There are nights when you do not need the noise of the world. You need a fortress where the soul can hide and breathe again. Adonai is my shepherd. I shall not want, not because I have everything I desire, not because life has no valleys, not because the enemies have disappeared, but because the shepherd is still there. He knows what pasture your soul needs. He knows what water can soothe the dry places within you. He knows when you have wandered too far. He knows when you no longer have strength to find the way home by yourself. He makes me rest in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. This is the gentleness of Adonai. He does not force the weary soul to run faster. He does not rebuke the sheep for being exhausted on the way. He leads. He supports. He restores. He brings the soul back to the place where there is water, where there is life, where there is peace that does not come from circumstance, but from his presence. But this shepherd is not only gentle, he is also mighty. For there are paths that need more than comfort. They need protection. There are valleys that are not only dark, they carry the shadow of death. There are nights when fear walks beside you, like a silent enemy. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. That is why the one who trusts God does not need to pretend. The valley is not real. The valley is real. The darkness is real. Loss is real. Tears are real. But Adonai is also real, and his presence is greater than the darkness around you. He does not only stand at the end of the valley, waiting for you to get out on your own. He walks with you inside the valley, step by step, breath by breath. through every long night, through every moment. When you thought you would not make it through, Adonai is my rock, my fortress, my deliverer, my shield, the horn of my salvation, my high refuge. When deep waters rise, he is the rock. When enemies surround, he is the fortress. When the soul is pulled down, he is the hand from on high, reaching down to lift me. When I have no strength left to swim in violent waters, Adonai does not stand far away and watch. He bends down. He takes hold. He draws me out of the depths. In my distress, I call upon Adonai. I cry out to my Elohim from his holy temple. He hears my voice. My cry reaches his ears. Do not think your weak prayer cannot reach the heavens. Do not think your choked back cry is not heard by God. Do not think that when all you have left is a sigh, heaven does not understand. Adonai hears. The shepherd hears. The rock hears. The fortress hears. The one who made the stars also hears one soul, calling to him in the night. And then he does what only God can do. He does not only change circumstances, he restores the soul. He does not only shield the outside, he heals the inside. He does not only save from enemies, he teaches the one he has saved to walk in upright paths. He leads me in paths of righteousnesses for his name's sake. This is where the prayer begins to turn from being shepherded to being taught, from being protected to being guided, from being pulled out of deep waters to learning how to walk in the truth of Adonai. For the soul that has been saved still needs to be taught the way. The heart that has been healed still needs to be kept from old paths. The one who has been brought beside still waters still needs to pray. Adonai, teach me your ways. Lead me in truth. Forgive my old sins. Keep my heart upright before you. So rest in this, weary soul. Adonai is not only above the heavens, he is also the shepherd, bending down beside you. He is not only majestic in creation, he is also gentle in your dark room. He is not only king, he is refuge. He is not only judge, he is rock. He does not only see that you are small, he loves you, leads you, covers you, and restores your soul. Adonai is both the gentle shepherd and the mighty fortress in the day of trouble. Selah. There is a very quiet pain many people carry into the night. It is not only tiredness. It is not only sadness. It is the feeling that you have walked wrongly for too long. Wrong in your thoughts. Wrong in your choices. Wrong in the things you said. Wrong in the things you kept silent about. When you should have lived uprightly, after the soul has been led by Adonai to green pastures, after being brought beside still waters, after being reminded that he is the shepherd, the rock, the fortress in trouble, a deeper prayer begins to rise. Not only, Lord, protect me, but, Lord, teach me your way. because being saved from the valley does not mean the soul already knows how to walk rightly. Being drawn out of deep waters does not mean the heart is clean from every old path. Being covered by God does not mean you no longer need to be repaired. From within, Adonai, show me your ways. Teach me your paths. Lead me in your truth. Teach me, for you are the Elohim of my salvation. This is the prayer of a person who no longer wants to lead himself. That one is tired of following feelings, tired of following fear, tired of following what other people say, tired of letting the past take the hand and pull the soul back onto old roads. There are roads that look right at first, but the longer you walk, the drier the soul becomes. There are decisions that first feel like freedom, but in the end, they become chains. There are words first spoken to protect yourself, but then they become wounds in someone else's heart and in your own. So the soul prays, Adonai, teach me. Do not let me follow my own wisdom. Do not let me call darkness light. Do not let me grow used to what is not upright. Remember your mercy, Adonai. Remember your loving kindness, for those things are from of old. Do not remember the sins of my youth. Do not remember my transgressions. According to your mercy, remember me. There are memories that return so clearly when night comes, words spoken wrongly, choices that wounded others, seasons lived far from God, times when you knew what was right, but still stepped another way. And the enemy loves to use the past to say, you are not worthy to come near God. You have been wrong too many times. You have waited too long. You cannot stand again in the holy place. But Adonai does not teach his way to push the hurting away. He teaches to lead them home. He forgives, so the soul will not be buried under the past. He sets the heart right, so the person can walk in truth. Adonai is good and upright. Therefore, he teaches sinners the way they should go. He leads the humble in what is right. He teaches the humble his way, not the proud, not the one who thinks he is always right, not the one who hides every mistake and calls it strength, but the humble one, the one who dares to say, Lord, I need to be taught. I need to be corrected. I need to be forgiven. I need a new heart. And then the holy question is asked. Not everyone can draw near to God with lips alone. Not everyone can enter his presence while the heart still holds deceit. Adonai, who shall dwell in your tent? Who shall stand on your holy mountain? The one who walks uprightly, who does righteousness, and who speaks truth from the heart. The one who is near God is not only the one who prays often. It is the one who lets prayer change the way he lives, not slandering with the tongue, not harming the neighbor, not using sweet words to cover a deceitful heart, not selling truth for advantage, not gaining victory by wounding the innocent. That one does not slander. With the tongue, does not do evil. To the neighbor, does not bring reproach. Against a friend, that one keeps an oath, even when it costs. This is costly integrity. Integrity when no one sees. Integrity when a lie would be more profitable. Integrity when keeping your word means loss. Integrity when silence is chosen instead of revenge. Integrity when truth is chosen over ease. And within that integrity, the soul finds peace. Not a false peace, but the peace of one who no longer runs from the light. The one who does these things will not be shaken. So tonight, let Adonai teach your way again, not through condemnation, but through mercy, not to shame you, but to bring you nearer to him. May he teach your feet to walk in truth. May he teach your mouth to speak what is upright. May he teach your heart to love purity. May he keep you from the snare of deceit, pride, and old sin. For being near God is not only being comforted, it is being purified. Not only being sheltered, but being transformed. Not only hearing gentle words, but being led into an upright life before Adonai. And when the soul begins to ask God to teach the way, a deeper door opens, the door of repentance, of confession, of a broken heart restored by God. To be near God requires a clean heart and an upright life. Selah. There is a weariness that does not come from work, not from lack of sleep, not from long days, but from hiding for too long, hiding a mistake, hiding a memory, hiding something said wrongly, hiding something done, that even tonight still makes the soul ache. There are sins that no longer appear before the eyes of others, but they still lie in the heart, like a stone, like a crack, like a small voice that returns when everything grows quiet. After the soul has asked Adonai to teach his ways, to lead in his truth, to keep the heart upright before him, the praying one goes deeper still, not only asking for direction, but asking to be cleansed, not only asking to be protected, but asking to be forgiven, not only asking to stand near God, but asking for a heart that no longer has to hide from the light. Blessed is the one whose transgression is forgiven. Blessed is the one whose sin is covered. Blessed is the one to whom Adonai does not count iniquity. This is the blessing the truly weary need. Not to be praised before the world, not to prove they were right, not to hide more skillfully, but to be forgiven, to be fully seen by God, and still covered by mercy. But before restoration comes, there is a very painful truth. When I kept silent, my bones wasted away. All day long I groaned. Day and night, your hand was heavy upon me. My strength dried up, as in the heat of summer. That is what sin does to the soul. It makes a person tired, even when the body lies still. It chokes prayer. It dries up joy. It makes a person fear silence. Because in silence, truth begins to speak. Maybe you tried to forget. Maybe you tried to explain. Maybe you tried to say, it no longer mattered. But the soul knows, and Adonai knows. He does not expose in order to destroy you. He touches the wound to heal you. He places his hand on the conscience, not to crush, but to call you home. Then I acknowledged my sin before you. I no longer hid my iniquity. I said, I will confess my transgressions to Adonai, and you forgave the iniquity of my sin. This is the moment the chains fall, not because the praying one made himself clean, but because he stopped running, stopped pretending, stopped covering, stopped letting darkness keep secrets in the heart. Restoration begins, not when human beings become perfect, but when they become humble enough to tell the truth before God. Adonai, I was wrong. I was weak. I wandered. I kept in my heart things that do not belong to your light. Have mercy on me. Wash me clean. Draw me out of the place where I have hidden myself. Have mercy on me, Elohim, according to your loving kindness, according to your abundant mercy. Blot out my transgressions. Wash me thoroughly from my iniquity. Cleanse me from my sin. This is not the prayer of someone trying to escape consequences. This is the cry of someone who wants to be made new. That one does not only ask God to erase guilt. That one asks God to remake the heart. For forgiveness is the doorway, but restoration is the house into which the soul is led. Create in me a clean heart, Elohim. Renew within me an upright spirit. There are things only Adonai can create again. Human beings can try to fix words, try to fix habits, try to fix the outward image. But only God can rebuild a heart that hates deceit, a heart that loves holiness, a heart that no longer wants to live in two directions, a heart that can sleep in peace, because it is no longer running from the light. Do not cast me away from your presence. Do not take your Holy Spirit from me. Restore to me the joy of your salvation. This is what the soul longs for most. Not only the end of the feeling of guilt, but the joy of returning, the joy of being near God, the joy of praying without fear, the joy of breathing again inside mercy, the joy of knowing I have been heard, forgiven, washed, restored. So tonight, weary soul, do not keep hiding. Do not hold on to darkness as if it were a shelter. Do not let old sin whisper that you cannot return. Adonai does not despise a broken heart. Elohim does not turn his face from the one who truly repents. He draws near, not to crush you, but to make you clean, not to push you farther away, but to bring you home. Restoration begins when a person stops hiding and brings sin before the mercy of God. And when the heart is forgiven, the soul begins to thirst for God more deeply than before, not only wanting relief, but wanting to be near him, wanting to drink from living waters, wanting to find hope again, in loneliness and despair. Selah. After sin has been brought before mercy, after the soul stops hiding, after Adonai forgives, washes, and begins to create a clean heart again, there remains a very deep thirst inside the human being. Not the thirst of the body, but the thirst of the soul. The thirst to be near God. The thirst to hear His voice. The thirst to know that you have not been forgotten in this darkness. There are nights when you have been forgiven, but still feel alone. There are nights when you have prayed, but the heart remains heavy. There are nights when you know God is real, but your feelings say He is very far away. And that is where the soul begins to cry out, as the deer longs for streams of water, so my soul longs for you, Elohim. My soul thirsts for God, for the living Elohim. This is not the word of a strong person. This is the word of someone who is dry, someone who has cried too long, someone who remembers the days of joy in the house of God, but now has only tears as food day and night. There are lonelinesses no person can fill. There are empty places no comforting word can fully reach. There are nights when a person lies down in a crowded world, yet still feels as if only the self and the darkness remain. My tears have been my food, day and night. People keep asking me, where is your Elohim? That is the most painful question when the soul is weak. Not only enemies ask it, sometimes the heart itself asks, where is God when I am this tired? Where is God when I pray and still do not see a way out? Where is God when I have tried to stand and still feel pulled down? But the Psalms do not hide that confusion. The Psalms bring it before God, and then the praying one turns and speaks to his own soul. Why are you cast down, O my soul? Why are you troubled within me? Hope in Elohim, for I shall yet praise him. This is the conversation in the night. One part of you wants to give up, but another part is pulled back by the word of God. One part of you says, I cannot bear this anymore. But faith whispers, hope in Elohim. One part of you sinks, but the mercy of God lowers a rope, not a rope of feeling, for feelings change, not a rope of circumstance, for circumstances can still shake, but the rope of hope, hope in the living Elohim, hope in the one who forgave, hope in the one who heard the weeping, hope in the one who lifted the head of the surrounded one, hope in the one who placed the moon, the stars, and still remembers one small soul thirsting for him in the night. Maybe deep calls to deep. Maybe the waves are passing over you. Maybe the noise in your mind is as loud as waterfalls. Maybe you have not yet seen the dawn. But soul, do not finish the story while you are still in the darkness. By day, Adonai commands his loving kindness. By night, his song is with me. My prayer goes to Elohim. of my life. Even in the night, there is still a song, not a loud song, not the song of one who has never heard, but the very small song of someone still holding on to God, while the heart is trembling. So speak again to your soul, not with force, but with gentleness. O my soul, hope in God. O weary heart, wait for Elohim. O troubled mind, do not let the darkness be the final voice. For when the soul thirsts for God, it is still alive. When the soul still calls the name of Adonai, there is still a way home. When the soul still hopes, it has not been swallowed by the deep. When the soul is troubled, hope in God is the rope that pulls a person back. And when that rope of hope draws the soul up from the depths, the praying one begins to see the next thing. God is not only the water for the thirsty soul, He is also the refuge. When the whole world shakes, He is strength. When the mountains move, He is fortress. When the seas roar, He is Elohim in the midst of His people. Selah. There are days when the world outside is so loud that the soul within can no longer hear peace. The news shakes. People argue. The future grows unclear. Things that once felt certain suddenly become fragile. And in the night, when every sound has quieted, your mind still storms. You ask yourself, if everything around me collapses, where will I cling? If the mountains are moved, if the seas roar, if human hearts are restless, is there still a place firm enough for my soul to take refuge after the soul has thirsted for God? Like a deer for streams of water, after the praying one reminds himself to hope in Elohim, God opens a greater comfort. Not only water for the dry soul, but a fortress for the trembling soul. Elohim is our refuge and strength. He is a very present help. In trouble, not help that is far away, not help that comes too late, not help reserved only for the strong, but present help, right in the trouble, right in the trembling, right in the night, when you do not know what tomorrow will bring. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth changes, though the mountains are carried into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble at its swelling. There are things in life that seem like mountains. Family, work, health, relationships, plans for the future, faith in yourself. Then one day, they shake, and you realize you have placed too much peace on things that can move. But Elohim does not move. He does not tremble. When the earth shakes, He does not panic. When the sea roars, He does not lose His throne. When the nations rage, there is a river whose streams make glad. The city of Elohim, the holy dwelling place of the Most High. Elohim is in the midst of her. She will not be moved. This is what the soul needs to hear. Not only try to calm down, but Elohim is in the midst. If he is in the midst, the city does not collapse. If he is in the midst, the soul still has shelter. If he is in the midst, you will not be swallowed by the noise of the world. The nations may rage, kingdoms may shake, the voices outside may rise like violent waves, but one word from God is enough to make the earth melt. Adonai of hosts is with us. The Elohim of Jacob is our fortress. Let that sentence enter the deepest place in you. Fear is not with you. Chaos is not with you. Darkness is not with you. Adonai is with you. The Elohim of Jacob is your fortress, your refuge, your strength, your present help in your weakest hour. And then the greatest invitation comes. Not the invitation to run faster. Not the invitation to save yourself. Not the invitation to control everything, but the invitation to be still, and know that I am Elohim. Be still, O frightened soul. Be still, O heart trembling because of tomorrow. Be still, O mind trying to solve what is beyond your strength. He is Elohim. You are not Elohim. He holds the world. You do not need to carry the whole world in your heart. He rules the nations. You do not need to stay awake all night to keep everything from falling apart. He is in the midst of his people, and he is also near you. In this night, when the world outside is chaotic, the one who trusts God is invited to enter inner stillness. And in that stillness, the soul begins to remember the mercy of God, to remember the times he has saved, to remember the covenant he does not forget, to remember that the one who is refuge today is also the one who led his people through the sea, through the wilderness, through the darkness, and into his covering. Selah. There are nights when you are not only afraid of tomorrow, you are afraid that God has forgotten what he once promised, afraid that you have gone too far, afraid that the past is too tangled, afraid that the times you were weak, the times you rebelled, the times your heart grew cold, have made Adonai turn his face away. After the soul is invited to enter stillness, after the voice of God says, "Be still and know that I am Elohim," the praying one begins to remember not only personal pain, but the history of mercy, to remember that Adonai did not begin saving today. He has saved from ancient days. He called Abraham out of the familiar place. He kept his promise to Isaac. He was with Jacob in lonely nights. He carried Joseph through the pit, through the prison, through years of being forgotten, and then turned that pain into a path that preserved many lives. Adonai remembers his covenant. He does not forget the word he has spoken. He keeps mercy for those who belong to him. Then his people went down into Egypt. Then the chains grew heavier. Then the cry rose up. Then many years passed, as if heaven were silent. But Adonai heard. He heard the groaning of his people. He remembered his covenant. He called Moses. He confronted Pharaoh. He split the sea. He opened a way where human beings saw only deep water. The sea saw him and fled. The waters were divided. His people passed through the sea, as through dry ground. This is what the soul needs to remember in the night. Where you see a dead end, Adonai can open a way. Where you see deep water, he can set a path. Where you see the enemy behind you and the sea before you, he is still the deliverer. His people rebelled. They complained. They forgot his wonders. They feared in the wilderness. But Adonai still gave bread from heaven, still brought water from the rock, still led them by cloud in the day and fire in the night. The mercy of Adonai endures forever. He led his people through the wilderness. He remembered them in their low estate. He delivered them from the hand of the enemy. So, weary soul, do not look only at your failure. Look at the faithfulness of God. Do not remember only the times you were weak. Remember the times he lifted you up. Do not listen only to the accusation in the night. Listen to the history of redemption, whispering, Adonai has saved. Adonai is saving. Adonai will save again. And right here, the promise of night protection draws very near. Not only an ancient memory, not only the story of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, Moses, and Israel, but a covering word for the soul lying down tonight, the one who dwells in the secret place of the Most High, will rest under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of Adonai, He is my refuge. He is my fortress. My Elohim, I trust in Him. The night may still be deep, but you are not outside the covenant of mercy. The darkness may still be thick, but you are not outside the gaze of God. Fear may still come near, but you are invited under the shadow of the Almighty. You will not fear the terror of the night. You will not fear the arrow that flies by day. You will not fear the destruction that walks in darkness. For Adonai is refuge. Adonai is fortress. Adonai is the one who led his people through the sea, and he is also the one who watches over your sleep tonight. The history of redemption proves that Adonai has saved, is saving, and will save again. And when the soul is covered, beneath that mercy, fear begins to step back. The night begins to soften. The breath begins to slow. And from the place of refuge, a new song begins to rise. The song of the one who is kept. The song of the one who is restored. The song of the one who knows that every final breath belongs to the praise of Adonai. Selah. Maybe you entered tonight with tired eyes. Maybe you carried in a pain no one sees, a sin you have not dared to name, a fear you have not known how to lay down, a cry that has been hidden too long behind silence. But this is not where the story ends. Not in darkness, not in exile, not in shame, not in tears. For Adonai has heard, Adonai has seen, Adonai has covered, Adonai has restored, and the soul that once trembled in the night is now invited into praise. O Israel, praise Adonai. O Zion, rejoice in your Elohim. O highest heavens, praise him. O deep seas, mountains, hills, trees, and every living thing, lift up your voice to the Creator, for God does not only wipe away tears, he turns tears into a river of return. He does not only save the fearful, he places in them a new song. He does not only draw the soul out of the pit, he teaches that soul to stand again in the light and worship. Maybe tonight you still do not see every answer. Maybe the wound is still healing. Maybe the dawn has not yet appeared clearly. But remember, darkness does not have the final word. Pain does not have the final word. Sin does not have the final word. Fear does not have the final word. Adonai has the final word. His mercy endures forever. The one who takes refuge in him will not be put to shame. So breathe slowly. Let your soul rest. Let every burden fall before the throne of God. And if this prayer has touched the hidden place within you, leave one amen as a small sign that you choose to step out of the darkness and return to praise. Share this word with someone who cannot sleep, someone who is lonely, someone who needs to be reminded that God is still near. This whole journey has led the soul from darkness and tears to refuge, restoration, and the praise of Adonai. Let every breath praise Adonai.